Welcome, my name is Yana the Heretic, and this is my channel, The Unpopular Opinion Becoming Popular. And we are revisiting and catching up to what was Gate 16 during May 26th. And this is the gate of skills and the gate of enthusiasm. So we are under a new godhead, which is the Godhead Lakshmi, and she's a Hindu goddess that symbolically represents prosperity, fertility, immortality, beauty, and devotion. And she has ascended with so much grace and charm and wealth and happiness on this lotus surrounded by elephants, and she got there because of her complete life experience and mastery to finally ascend from the mud and muck. So the lotus represents being kind of as above, so below. So the roots are deep and they are in the mud and water and muck of it all. And that's where it all began. You have to get through all of that in order to finally sit on top of the water and to bloom as this beautiful lotus. And life likes to trick you a lot, and it likes to trick you in order to teach you physics, specifically your physics at the core of your being, and really showing you what you're capable of handling, and really showing you your limitations and boundaries and what you can surpass in life and adapt to, and how you brush yourself off and continue forward even though you failed or you sucked at something. You know, it's that drive and passion to get up and do it again. This is the gate that says, I experiment. So most of the time, you know, when you're 18, you have a lot of pressure on you and you may not know what you want to do. You may be confused because you don't want to take up your family's lineage. You're different, you're the black sheep, whatever it is. You don't want to be an insurance broker or a lawyer or a farmer. And you really have to change, you know, what you're doing if you do not like your upbringing or what your parents really chose for you. And that way you have to sample in life. You have to sample, you know, what really matters to you. So you therefore experiment. You know, you go through life really progressing through what you have patience for. You know, if you read a bunch of books on economics and you're like, I can't do this anymore, you put it down forever. You know, if you aren't really super physically fit, or if you broke a lot of bones and you're like, well, you know, I really want to be a boxer, I really want to be an extreme sport person, and it really takes a lot of willpower to continue through that and to see where you land. And it's creating this like physics, and I think that physics really represents or the elephants really represent physics. It's like you have to learn how to move with this body, with this form. You have to be all in the present moment in order to really like land that trick, or you know, you're gonna fall and you're gonna scrape yourself and it's gonna hurt. So elephants have a great mass and they have to learn how to roll with it. They have to learn their mass, and so do each one of us, and to really test out the physics of the universe compared to you and what you're capable of achieving with those lessons. And Gate 16 has the hexagram that looks like this, and it is called providing for. So symbolically through the I Ching, this is the child riding the elephant. It's just excited. You know, it's on the top of this giant beast, excited to experience what life is like from such a height. And there's this excitement to it, you know, you want to really feel something different and see, like, is this worth doing again? And it's also, you know, highlighting the physics. You have to learn how to brave such a beast, you know. Elephants are beautiful beasts, but they're giant and magnificent and the like. So, you know, really, what are you all in for? Your eyes, your ears, you know, your whole attention. What is it really driving you to do and experiment with? Because that's going to be what creates your whole entire life, what scapes and molds and sculpts your entire life, and what you're surrounded by all of the time. Gate 16 is in the throat, and it's linked up to gate 48, which is the well. And although gate 48 is not in transit, they create the channel of awareness. Sorry, the channel of the wavelength 4816. And the wavelength is all about your intuition pulsing into your throat. It's the ability to really have this depth. The gate 48 is considered the well, and it is why you do what you do. It is the depth of why you and your soul really wants to achieve this skill in life, and why you want to shave off certain things, you know, and really sculpt yourself and sculpt your form. You know, certain skills, you may not even realize like why you're doing them, but there's this well, you know, that comes in and it's like showing you like, hey, this is why this is important. And it may not show up right away. And for some people, it may not show up because, you know, unless you have the channel and unless 48 is in transit, it could be a fleeting thing. It's easier to go from one experimentation to another. So the well is what really drives the awareness of why it's important to master this skill in life. And it really takes you back. I have the whole channel of the wavelength, and for me, it's kind of a back and forth because, you know, 48 is unconscious for me, and it's really like, you know, I know that I want to be an Ashtanga yogi, and I know why it is important all of the time, but sometimes I forget how important it is and how much it really develops my senses and how it really grounds my senses. You know, otherwise I'm sporadic and all over the place, and then when I come back and understand the sacredness of this practice, it really holds true. It's like, holy shit, you know, of course I'm going to revisit this constantly and read more books on yoga and like gain everyone else's perspective on the sacredness and what it does to your actual physical body, aside from your spiritual body, or aside from how it levels your mental chatter. So it kind of allows me to see it from all angles and to get re-inspired by it. So although 48 was not in transit, you can be aware of what it feels like once this channel is in transit. It really gives you this like whole entire picture of why this is so important to master and to do, and why it's important for other people that you do this as well. This is also a channel on the cross of planning, or a gate on the cross of planning, and this whole entire incarnation is about, you know, well, once you obtain this form and this skill, what are you going to do with it? You know, what are you going to plan now that it's going to be prosperous, and, you know, it's given you money and it's giving you more opportunities, and you're beaming this so easily, it's flowing out of you, that other people are like, oh, I recognize this within you, and I'm going to give you this opportunity to respond to. Or I'm going to give you this guiding role, or you're going to be a leader, you know, because of this. What are you going to do? What are your plans? You know, are you going to, you know, because you learn how to rock climb, are you going to scale like a certain mountain, a certain height that has never been done before? How far are you going to go? Are you going to become an architect in like Rome or Greece, or you know, what kind of ethical architecture can you create with it? You know, so it's really putting it into the future, like, and it's really keeping you tethered to that, because, you know, life will show you whether or not that's going to be achievable. Anything is achievable as long as our mind rides passenger. So fortunately, this quarter is more about our actual physical body and not our mind. And that's what that quarter of mutation was for, is getting us prepped for this. Where are you wanting to go now that we are here? And what are you going to use this energy for in the beautiful summer in the West Coast? Because we're going to have a lot of our vitamin D exalted, and we're going to want to be buzzing around in the sun. So the questions of the week are, what skills have you learned that you act out every day? Whether it be mundane or vibrant or spiritual, can you trace back to the first memory and people associated with learning that skill? I learned so many skills from people. I know exactly like how to say thank you for it, you know. I know where to go and what to say. It's amazing that I still have these people in contact. What new form and initiation are you working towards? Have you ever put down a form and picked it up again later in life? What changed within the next cycle of experience? So this is like very much people that, you know, well, I used to play music, you know, or I used to paint. Sometimes you just have to go through different phases, and sometimes you come back to that thing and you're like, wow, well, I have so much more depth to bring to this, to my music. You know, I really needed to gain that experience to actually hit the mark and have potency within my lyricism, or, you know, what I wish to embody. So I'm glad that I took a break from it and came back. What is your biggest, baddest plan that your soul ignites and calls out for? If people can make magic work under pressure, what formula for focus pushes you to figure it all out, even if it seems impossible? I've seen life with formulas all the time. There's a formula for me sitting down to paint. There's a formula for, you know, me wanting to play music. There's like a specific thing that I like to ingest for focus or for calmness, or, you know, just to put me into the mood. Sometimes it has to just do with going for a run or whatever. That's a formula. So think about the formulas that you have for focus and the ability to sit with a form. Is it going to be a 10-minute, you know, I'm going to go skate for an hour, or I'm going to jump rope for 10 minutes and see how that evolves through time? What is your formula? Thank you very much. I will see you guys in the next video.